The New York Times took a look at some Census Bureau data on poverty and did an analysis, and they found out that because of government programs, the official poverty rate has been cut in half. Isn't that amazing? Cut in half. That's a big difference. The rate currently stands at 15%, which is actually relatively high, of course, because of the Great Recession and the fact that the tax code is rigged against the middle class and the poor. But they say that without programs like Social Security, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which is food stamps, and low-income tax credits, the poverty rate would be nearly 30%. So it's just those programs that stand in between 15% of Americans living in poverty and 30% living in poverty. They say Social Security has been the most successful program. It reduced the poverty rate by 8.5 percentage points. Low-income tax credits shave another 3 points off the rate. Food stamps cuts another 1.6 percentage points off of it. Other programs, including unemployment insurance, housing subsidies, temporary assistance for needy families, and the WIC program, cut anywhere from 0.1 to 0.9 points off of the rate. So the bottom line is here that when you look at the information and the data, I mean, the conclusion is straightforward and it's kind of common sense, really. If you do smart redistribution of wealth, you can prevent poverty. Now, this I always found amazing that the Republicans could just demonize the idea of redistribution of wealth, and the Democrats and progressives never fought back. We should have fought back from day one, because everybody's in favor of some form of redistribution of wealth. The police department is redistribution of wealth. The military is redistribution of wealth. The roads and the bridges and the water purification system and the FDA, which makes sure that you don't die from the Ebola virus or Salmonella or E. coli when you're eating your food. That's all redistribution of wealth. So everybody's in favor of it. The question is, to what extent are you in favor of it? And I would submit to you that if you were to poll the American people, a majority of them would say, well, look, if you only have to, tax me an extra % or 2% in order to make sure that the poverty rate is cut in half, right? I think most people are good people, and they would say, of course, man. I mean, I'm not unreasonable. You're not asking for the world here. You're asking for a tiny amount for people who are doing well to take care of people who have fallen on harsher times. See, the way the U.S. economy functions, the way any largely capitalist economy functions, unemployment is just a byproduct of the system. There's always going to be unemployment in a capitalist system. And there's always going to be low-paying jobs in a capitalist system. And oftentimes people will work full-time, but if they earn a minimum wage, they don't make enough to survive. They don't make enough to meet their basic needs. So they're wage slaves, essentially. So being that those are facts of the system that we live in, the only way to address that problem is to have the government do some form of redistribution to make sure that the people who are in the worst case scenario, where even if they're working full time and they can't put food on the table, you need to make sure that they make up the difference and those people don't starve or die or live in abject poverty or they're homeless while they work a full time job.